Chapter 66 Where or When? Dion. Originally released on the album Presenting Dion and the Belmonts, Laurie, 1959. Music by Richard Rogers. Lyrics by Lorenz Hart. This is a song of reincarnation, one repetitious drone through space, plugging the same old theme, non-stop over and over again, where every waking moment bears a striking resemblance to something that happened in pre-revolutionary times, pre-Renaissance times, or pre-Christian times, where everything is exactly alike, and you can't tell anything apart. History keeps repeating itself, and every moment of life is the same moment, with more than one level of meaning. You are having a discourse, rambling on, thinking out loud, discussing things, letting your hair down, having eyeball-to-eyeball encounters, playing peekaboo, going backwards, forwards, to and fro, without any difference, with an inkling that it all happened earlier, but you can't pinpoint the location, the district or the region, and now it's happening again, one timeless moment identical to the next, full of memory lapses and mental blocks. It's an otherworldly feeling, built on air but down to earth, like a pipe dream, like a visual lifetime image that's here to stay. The outfits, garments, hoods, the Sunday finery, the fair-lined coats, things that were worn back in the days of antiquity, are exactly the same. The apron, the robe, the brassiere, the rayon stockings, the waist belt, just like in ancient history times, never out of date. Stitches, buttonholes, knitting and embroidery, putting on the dog ragged out suit, windbreaker, flannel pants, suede gloves and undershirt, wooden shoes, all decked out and fit to kill. Not a bit of difference between that occasion and this one. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, a dead ringer for the actual thing, unchanged and consistent from year one, right from when the first curtain rose. The same regalia, same mustachio, toupee, same phenomenal world appearing and reappearing, telling and retelling. Same old song, same old tune, same riddles, fighting the same old battle all in the same breath. And you can be absolutely sure that it happened before and it will happen again. It's inevitable. The handshake, the glad hand, the same coincidence time after time, the kissing, embracing, breaking apart and coming together, being roguish and playful, teasing, slapping and hitting, busting a gut, putting each other in stitches, yucking it up and rejoicing good-naturedly, getting high on each other, getting a load of each other, adoring each other. To each other will be true, to each other were just what the doctor ordered, the profanity, the shallowness, being born, reborn, and born again, the regeneration of it all. That's the ultimate aim. Life in the wasteland, where there's no tomorrow, and it always seems like only yesterday, where we share the same faults over and over, where reincarnation overtakes you, where the past has a way of showing up in front of you and coming into your life without being called. Where, if it's not happening now, it wasn't happening then or ever. I feel like I've already written about this song before, but that's understandable because Where or When dances around the outskirts of our memory, drawing us in with images of the familiar, being repeated and beguiling us with lives not yet lived. Debuting in their 1937 Broadway show Babes in Arms, The song pairs Lorenz Hart lyrics with music by Richard Rodgers. Many famous Rodgers and Hart songs were also in the score of that play, including The Lady is a Tramp, Johnny One Note, and My Funny Valentine. Contrary to what you might think, that last song is not a paean to some unnamed object of desire. It's actually sung by the character Billy Smith to the eponymous Valentine Lamar, delineating some of his shortcomings, mouth weak and sad physique, before revealing that ultimately the smile he brings to her heart is enough to bring her happiness. 2 years after its stage debut, the film version of Babes in Arms was made, but the Bubsy Berkeley directed film, uniting Mickey Rooney and Judy Garland, was barely recognisable, cut down to a simplified husk, as Hollywood was afraid of the original's political overtones. The more unusual characters in the play, among them a Nietzsche-spouting communist and a Southern racist, were excised from the show. Also, somehow, many of the most famous Rodgers and Hart collaborations were also lost in the transition. But one song remained from draft to draft, and indeed drifts from the stage to the screen like a half-grasped recollection. That song, of course, is Where or When. Some things that happened for the first time seem to be happening again. By the time the song appears in the film version, we're already neck-deep in the bowlerized story, which now is nothing more than the typical teens put-on show trope, before the song makes its appearance. It is sung there mostly by two lesser characters, though Judy Garland's Patsy does get to sing one line to her besotted co-star. Rooney is accompanied by an orchestra made up entirely of sombre children, sawing away at what looks like 100 violins. But in the play, the song is more than just a soppy serving of sorghum. Billy and Valentine, who don't even exist in the film version, use the song to foreshorten the time between first meeting and first kiss. The dreamy ode to lovers tumbling through time to find each other again makes that inaugural embrace seem more like destiny than mere carnal momentum. The swirling, dreamlike quality of Rodgers' tune gives the listener a feeling of time as mysterious and complex as anything by Stephen Hawking, and Hart's lyrics ride that ethereal melody, allowing the singer to be lost in reverie, confronting a lover like an apparition. And for a man like Lorenz Hart, standing barely 5 feet tall, who disparaged his own looks so much it veered towards self-loathing, the thought of reincarnation, star-crossed romance playing out in a different time and in different flesh, must have seemed very attractive. The transformed version of Babes in Arms was a huge success at the box office and received 2 Academy Awards, one for 19-year-old lead Mickey Rooney. It's interesting to note that after working so hard to make the script less offensive, the big musical finale features Oscar winner Rooney along with Judy Garland slapping on the blackface and mugging incessantly through a simulacrum of a traditional minstrel show, with Rooney portraying Mr. Bones, Garland portraying Mr. Tambo, and Douglas MacPhail portraying the straight man interlocutor. All 3 characters were minstrel show mainstays, which explains but does not excuse their presence. The performance is at least as one-dimensionally stereotyped as Mickey's cringeworthy portrayal of Mr. Unishui in Breakfast at Tiffany's 22 years later. Dion Dimuki evolved throughout his career, changing outwardly but maintaining recognizable characteristics across every iteration. Not reincarnation in the strictest sense, but an amazing series of rebirths, taking him from an earnest teenager in love to a swaggering wanderer, a soul-searching friend of Abraham, Martin, and John, to a hard-edged, leather-clad king of the urban jungle, who was a template for fellow Italo-Rocco Bruce Springsteen. Most recently, he has realized one of his early dreams and become some kind of elder legend, a bluesman from another delta. Dion's version of Where or When, a big hit in 1959, shines a light on the talent behind those transformations, a breathtaking bit of vocal harmony. It was the Belmont's biggest hit on the Billboard charts, beating even the aforementioned A Teenager in Love. And when Dion's voice bursts through a solo moment in the bridge, it captures that moment of shimmering persistence of memory in a way the printed word can only hint at. But so it is with music. It is of a time, but also timeless, a thing with which to make memories and the memory itself. Though we seldom consider it, music is built in time as surely as a sculptor or welder works in physical space. Music transcends time by living within it, just as reincarnation allows us to transcend life by living it again and again.